Good evening. Welcome to the East Long Meadow Board of Assessors meeting of Tuesday, September 19th. In accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, we need to ask if anyone else is taping this meeting other than LCAT and our own office for the purposes of our minutes. Doesn't appear that anyone else is taping this meeting. First item on the agenda is to review the minutes of August 29th, 2017. Mr. Johnson.
Madam Chairman, I find I have reviewed both the open session and the executive session minutes from August 29th. I find them to be in order, and I move that they be approved.
I will second out of necessity. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have no appointments this evening. And on our administrative agenda, the first item on that agenda is we will take no action on these apportioned betterments and special assessments. This is a warrant to collect. However, the property is for sale and the closing was delayed, so I guess we just put that in the tray. There's two of them. All right, next item on the agenda is a motor vehicle excise warrant, commitment number 5, to the amount of $82,252.96.
That's anticipated to go out the last week in September, and it's due within 30 days.
These are the new cars primarily?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, trades and new purchases. Okay, that's commitment number 5. Next one is the boat excise warrant for this year to the amount of $2,523. And those are going to be out at the same time, Diane?
It will be at the end of September. Boat excise has 60 days for payment, so they'll be due at the end of November. Every person who does have a boat should be filing a form of list with the assessor's office as of July 1st of each year. If they do, there's a possibility that a boat excise would not have gone out if they qualified for the exemption. We only received 2 this year. The deadline to fill out any form of list for boat is October 31st. If they do not have it in and they do anything with this boat after the fact, there's no abatement due.
Right.
So I'm just cautioning people to make sure that their form of lists are filed.
Yeah, it's their responsibility to come forward and acknowledge their ownership in place of mooring.
Right, that's why some people may be eligible to not have to pay tax in East Long Meadow if it's moored in another municipality.
Yeah, if it's moored in Otis, then they pay Otis.
Correct, correct.
We just signed a recommitment of motor vehicle excise for 1999, and we are now going to sign a recommitment of motor vehicle excise for the calendar year 2000 of $31.25. And this sheet is a recommitment of 2001 motor vehicle and trailer excise to the amount of $31.25. Might it be the same one?
I think it's the same person
who
must have left Massachusetts, came back and found that there was some outstanding excise owed.
And 2002, again, a recommitment of motor vehicle excise tax, $31.25. Well, there's almost $100 into the town's coffers. Okay, that takes care of that portion. We have a motor vehicle excise abatement reports. The abatements granted during the months of August for 2016 and 17. Why is it warm in here?
It is
Grand total is $5,219.12 abated.
These excise abatements are mainly sold cars that got sold or traded in or something.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Do we have the LA3 on our computer?
We do. It's number 4. If you would prefer to look at a very small printout, you're welcome to.
I think I have it here.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a very small printout on the computer, too.
It is. I agree. I wonder if I can get up to 75. Yeah, I noticed a couple of them were really, really low, which indicates what the market's doing now.
Correct. So it appears that when that's the market, we're now through 8 months of this calendar year, and we had been talking as we're doing our recertification that all of these will be part of our adjustment for the future.
Right, for our next interim.
Right.
Yeah. I don't mind the 94 ASRs, but and 96, but 92 is starting the dip down.
We've got like an 81, a 79, an 83, an 82. It's showing us that.
Some of them you coded them out because I looked at them at first and I said, oh, they are coded, which is good.
And I have no clue about the 66. That's towards the top.
Yeah.
I have no clue whatsoever.
Good neighborhood. Oh no, that's West
Main Road.
Okay.
Have to do more research and hope that I haven't been able to do the sales inspections. We're holding off. We've got like 60 of them waiting to get mailed.
Oh, okay.
I've just been a little too busy to
Well,
be
you've got the
running out.
recertification going, so.
I just suggested that we'll just start looking and pick one day each week that I could maybe go out, because it never fails that everyone always needs a different day of the week.
Yes, of course.
But the fiscal, the calendar year 2017 sales do not get into the fiscal 2018 values.
No.
You're correct, but we do want to start getting them updated, and it's easier to be reviewing the properties before people move in and then start doing updates themselves. We want to get that good baseline.
Yes, yes. Any other comments on any of the sales, Bill?
Well, these will certainly impact the 2019 values.
They sure will.
The fiscal 2000.
Yeah. We'll have to take a close look at some of our older house stock. Okay. Your director's update, is that also separate?
Yes, it is. It should probably, sorry.
Oh,
it should
dear.
probably be number 5 if this one was 4. I believe it just
Okay.
fell right after that. And so, yes, on my director's update, you will see a recent planning board decision where the nursing home on Maple Street, and there's 3 other lots that were all combined into one lot. I have not seen deed transfers as of yet, and I have not seen this be recorded, but it's been approved. And so we are working with the nursing home to make sure that this is moving right along as the construction.
That corner sure looks different.
It sure does, yes.
There's a big project going there.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of people have been asking why all these trees are coming down, and didn't realize what a large tract of land it was until all the trees start coming down.
Well, it's 13.15 acres. You can have a lot of trees in that
well,
many acres.
13.15 here in East Long Meadow, and the remaining is in Long Meadow. So, but people don't realize where that town line is. They just know it's there. So we have completed all of our 61A application inspections, as the board had recommended that we go out in the summer months to review all of the properties who are receiving this classification. The last 2 property owners that we were unable to visit did call in to let us know that there had been no farming on their properties at all this year, and one indicated that they would not be applying next year. So at this point, I feel that we've done our due diligence to follow through with our concern last year, and we have updated all of them. We are expecting 61A and B applications in no later than October 1.
Correct.
So once we start receiving those, we'll set aside a meeting and we can review all the pictures that were taken on our site visits if somebody wasn't at one of those meetings.
Am I assuming correctly that you have tied those pictures to the property record cards?
Yes, they have all been attached to the property. At the
Good
time
job.
when I could combine documents, I lost it again. We have a running file, so you can go in and look at the pictures.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Granted, it would only be for us. It's not something that someone can look at if they
Right.
were looking at our
No,
property
it's our
record
working
cards. Right.
Okay.
So the next thing was the educational workshops and conferences, and as we discussed at the last meeting, they have put a limit on educational seminars, and I spoke with the director who basically stated that the board would be covered for any mileage or incidentals having to do with ATB cases, but for education it was that $250, and she is more than welcome to talk to anyone if they would like to speak to her.
We may talk to her in the future.
Mhm.
I feel it's a short-sighted policy because I think education for the board is as important as it is for the staff because of the function we perform for the town and the money that we save for the town. Considering that just in this past year, we've turned over $120,000 in overlay because we are very conservative in our abatement applications. We also prevailed in an appellate tax board case that saved another $140,000 for the town. That's $260,000. So I find it hard that $2,500 can't be spent on the benefit of the board. We're fortunate to have you, Diane, because you're accredited. I believe I am the first accredited assessor to sit on this board.
You are.
Yeah. And, thinking to the future, if we're not fortunate enough to have you, because we all make different choices or move on, then if the board's not educated, they're not going to know if their director is educated. So,
And also, you're a former president of the Assessors Association,
yes, I am.
so you have connections, so you should get out to these meetings and see your connections.
Well, not only that, being former president of the association, which is based on establishing professionalism for assessors and sponsoring their education and developing courses that are approved by the State Department of Revenue and working hand in hand with them, I feel this is a penny wise and pound foolish policy. But we'll take that up at some other time.
Okay. I have kept our reevaluation work plan schedule, the tentative dates, and just so you are aware, we're up to the DOR review. I did have our DOR rep in last week with all of our information, and she's meeting back with me tomorrow to go over more. So we are at that point, and as soon as all of her work is submitted into Boston on our behalf, then we will hopefully get our preliminary certification and be able to get into public disclosure period. When it is public disclosure period, we will be advertising it on our town website. We will have old to new books out for our counter for the library.
Good.
Possibility we could also put the whole spreadsheet online. It's a discussion that the board can talk about, and If time permits, we could advertise it in the paper, but it's no longer a requirement to advertise it as long as it is on our town website. So when I say if time permits, I know that a lot of times we could get the preliminary certification the day after the deadline for the reminders, most upcoming recent issue, and then we'd have to wait until like almost 10 days before it would show up in a paper. So it's really going to be dependent on how quickly we get preliminary. If we have that wiggle room that we can wait for that disclosure. I personally am not comfortable saying that that's a robocall. I know the town uses those, and I don't think that is a robocall need.
No, it's not a it's not a deadline for payment,
right,
or a road closure,
or an emergency situation,
right,
which is what I think of the robocalls to be.
I think if they're if they're made available at the library and on our counter on the website, and people become aware that
people are looking for this one.
So I don't think you're going to meet the period of next week, however, if she's coming in tomorrow, unless, because I think, whatever she determines tomorrow and finishes her paperwork, it'll have to go in for approval.
So it depends on how backlogged they are, and it depends, sometimes they can have this one area that they want you to work on, and so you get put back to the bottom of the queue, and as they go to the other communities. So just do my best, and she'll be meeting with me tomorrow.
Well, we can't do the public disclosure until we get through this DOR processing.
Right. We have to get preliminary certification before we can have public disclosure.
So I'm still comfortable that we have plenty of time. We started it early in the process, and
absolutely.
Our goal is to get our tax rate set sometime within the first 2 weeks of November, and that means our tax classification hearing right around that period of time. So we pretty much have the month of October to
work through. Good. I think it's very timely. I think it's good. You kept it on track.
I've tried.
Okay, next we have some upcoming events. You enlighten us, Diane.
We have the clerks meeting. The staff is set up to attend that.
Good.
We have the What's New in Municipal Law on the 5th. I believe Bill is going, and I have been signed up also. We have the fall conference in October 19th. I know Chris is unable to attend. I will be attending. We're planning on having our Hampden, Hampshire County Assessing Association fall workshop. It's being planned for November 9th. And I know that Chris and I both happen to be on the e-board of that committee, and we're meeting tomorrow to finalize some of the information. And then we also have the annual meeting and election of officers on December 9th. It's not December 9th, it's December 7th, and I'm sorry, I didn't look right to me right when I wrote that down. And it's because it's Pearl Harbor Day. It was. I remember it's going to be on Pearl Harbor Day, so it's not December 9th. And the place is still to be determined, and again, the e-board is working on that as well.
Okay, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That concludes our open session. We do have an item to take up in executive session for the purpose of discussing an individual valuation for the upcoming year. So I move that we go into executive session to discuss that matter, to return only to open session for the purposes of adjournment, and I will take a roll call vote. Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Christine Saunier, yes.